Yes. It's an extension. We'll see how far we get. I didn't think an hour would be enough, so I asked for 2 hours. You could do it all day with one thing. This is just a sort of in the middle. I did a kind of a day of immersion, from a product idea to code. That's a little more technical, but basically we're gonna do a little bit of that in behavior-driven development. We won't go into test-driven development. I won't actually write code, but you can, right? I mean, this is kind of a little bit of the middle part of how I practice. So, anyway, I think we can start. So, for me, how many people have heard of behavior-driven development? All right, cool. Test-driven development, yeah. Test way after development. Somebody else tests my crap way after, yeah. And you can also think of this as acceptance test-driven development, ATTD or something like that. And I'm going to say that today you'll get an opportunity. And the cool thing is this is something you can practice at home. And I know we have people can group around the tables when we start, but doing little time box exercises is fun. And doing something on sticky notes is fun. There's enough room if you want to just be crowded or just come later. So we're going to do a little bit of story mapping and a little bit of BDD. And for me, Corey Haynes, back in, I'm pretty sure it was 2009. He did a funny thing. He was touring around the United States looking for places to sleep. I think he just quit his job, and I don't know. So it's, my wife's away. Why don't you come hang out at our house? With oh yeah, my wife and our twin girls were away. So it's just me and our son. And so we're sitting at the kitchen table one morning. He says, "Hey, let me show you some stuff." So I'll credit Corey with introducing me to Cucumber. There are other tools, like I remember doing BDD with SpecFlow for a C# company, .NET type work. So there's other than Cucumber. And I don't know why it's Cucumber. That's a vegetable. Like, you make pickles out of it sometimes. Do you know that pickles are often, the little ones are made from something called gherkins? I remember growing those as a kid. So I don't know why the hell they use cucumber and gherkin, but it is what it is. So before I saw something like Cucumber, I never had such what I call a closed loop way. Come on in. Yeah, we'll just get hot. I have buttoned down. I can take my shirt off. It's okay. Yeah. 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 But most of the time, there's a lot of tables over there. No. Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you. Boy, this better not suck. BYOC. Hi, Alexi. Oh. We're giving away free liquor. No. We're giving away free sticky notes. So, back in the day, trying to how many people ever tested user interfaces with like a product that you click and you record the clicks. And that was good for like, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then it sucked after that because things changed. So with Cucumber and kind of headless browser testing, it was a fantastic way to actually see the real code being exercised by a test. And it changed my life. It might be a little extreme. But it's really, to me, it's important. I hope you get a little sense of that, even though we're technically not writing Cucumber, but we're writing the Given-When-Then. So this is really a powerful technique that I would never do a single project or product development without BDD. Not a chance. Really. As a matter of fact, like I said, in a .NET shop, we're helping them experience Agile, because you can't learn Agile from a book, but you can experience it. So you'll get to experience a little bit of it. I was like, okay, what's the equivalent in this .NET language for Cucumber? SpecFlow. Whew. All right, what's the equivalent for RSpec? Because I did Java, C, C++, and now I'm just a Ruby guy, but because it's a lot easier. Stuff just works. They treat you like an adult. But anyway, it's so important that you can use it. I often put pseudo, what we're going to build, and you write. I will even put that in a Jira issue. A Cucumber feature is a great way to specify the definition of done. So that's kind of what we're going to learn today, and you're going to do some, is a really powerful way to express. Now, I don't know how many folks are used to doing testing, unit tests or anything like that, but there's a common pattern of, anybody fall out the window? No. There's a common pattern of, you might say, arrange, act, assert. And it's a clear way to express when you're doing the arrange. Here are the initial conditions. You know, the user's logged in, the user is a role admin, right? It's really clear. Instead of a bunch of prose, a bunch of paragraphs, a bunch of ways to try to express a feature, this is, I literally write pseudo BDD to express an issue in Jira. So we'll do that. And shout out if you have a question or if you didn't understand something. But I was joking a little bit about this. The BDD for me is part of a test-first approach. You write a failing test, and then you write some code. Not, I write some code, and then I figure out what I should test. Nah, it's just, so a lot of times you get the test after. Now, developers will often do unit tests, but as far as acceptance tests, it's less likely. So this is an easy way, in my opinion, to write tests first. And it's a learning curve. Some of my early BDD is pretty bad. And you learn how to better express intention rather than when I click on, a button or something like that. So it's a way that over time it'll get better. But we'll do a few rounds between this session and the next session. And this is something called red-green refactor. And for example, when you get a bug, how many people write a test first? Or you even hear that in where you work. Right, as soon as you get a bug, you should write a failing test. Like, obviously I missed something. Okay, let me write a test that shows the failure. Cool. Now go fix it. So red-green refactors. Red means the test failed. Sorry, I should point that out. It's not Christmas. It's another use of red and green. It's not traffic lights, but kind of like that. So the idea is the outer loop is the behavior. I expect to be able to click on something, and I expect to be able to see something. Right? The outer loop of the user interacting with the system. And then inside, someone writes unit tests, like RSpec or something like that. We won't do any of that. But the idea is you write the test, you write the behavior you expect, And then that's the kicking off point for now. Let me start writing some code. Does that sound crazy, or does that sound pretty natural? Or does that sound, I don't know. I don't actually write a lot of code. No idea. What's that?
It sounds dangerous.
Ah.
To traditional way of thinking.
That's an interesting point, Alexi. It sounds dangerous.
Some elements
Yeah.
are already 30 years in development to change their mind, that to write the first test and then write the code. It's completely, I would say, disaster for them to think about it.
Well, just fire them. We'll hire somebody else.
The easiest way, I would say,
Out with the dinosaurs. In with the youngsters. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. People suck. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true, right? Software, it's my joke. Software, yeah, so you have to laugh. Software would be easy if it weren't for all the people. So, we have a choice. This is one that's, the choice is, what product would you like to develop in the next 2 hours, so to speak? This one and the next one. We'll see how far we get. Maybe the next one we just, I don't know, have fun, do something else. So you can do 3 different. The game of life only has 4 rules. It's got to be simple. Literally 4 business rules. How hard can it be? The game of life is little rules about you pre-populate a grid with live cells, and there's some rules about who dies, who lives to the next generation, when does something sprout as new life. 4 rules. We could, what I'm going for here is I'm not doing like, hey, let's do a insurance mortgage application, something crazy. This is just everybody can probably figure out 4 business rules. Everybody knows what a point of sale cash register goofy thing is, like these things that spin around, you touch them. And then this was one, because I do smoked meats, smoked barbecue, and I, like a nerd, I track them and I have graphs, and then I try to do the recipe again and tweak something and I track. So hey, maybe we can write some software to track a recipe, because everyone knows what recipes are. So anyway, this particular one I actually have a few more slides for. The other ones I don't, so we have to invent it. Not to bias your choice. And if you want, you could do ones at a different table, but what I suggest is we pick one, and as we do the exercise, the different tables, different groups, we can find ways for you to huddle around something and contribute and write some of these things down, because you have markers and sticky notes. So, do you want to do the game of life? Is that okay? All right, good. Thanks. So, now this might seem a little weird, the business purpose, but it's really, as I mentioned in my talk, there's sort of a foundational approach that has to be in place, in my opinion, for being successful with software, regardless of process. And it is, why the hell are we here? What's the purpose? So we're going to do that one first, and then we'll do some story mapping, and that should lead to some features, and then we can do some BDD. So I'm giving you just a glimpse of how, if you asked me to help a team create a new product, we would start with this. So you're doing what I do for real. We'll just do it a little mildly accelerated with a simple problem compared to yours. So, Conway's game of life. I don't know if it's the same. It might be the same. Everyone hear of Conway's law? It might be the same guy. I don't know. I don't need to know, but it's got the same name. We'll go with that. So it looks like this is, you can actually go to conwaylife.com, and I just did a little GIF off of that. So it's about kind of like overpopulation, underpopulation. It's a goofy little way to simulate and think about different functions and different algorithms and visualize them. So it's a goofy little thing that makes fun for writing something simple. So these are the rules. And we talk about a simulation. It's like I run, we populate the board, I run it, I click run, And for every cell, we calculate based on these rules what happens. Do you die? Do you live? Does a new cell get born? So it's pretty simple, and it is as simple as a simulation. So does that clear? Does this, right, like this little goofy video thing? So that's like pre-populated. You hit start. You calculate. You go over the whole world, and you calculate based on those 4 rules. And the next, you can draw pictures and things like that. So your first exercise, and I'll time it, because it's always fun to put a timer on things. Anyone here ever do any kind of car racing in parking lots or? Nah, yeah. Like as soon as you put a timer on something, it's always better. I got to go faster. Yeah, because that makes you take more risks. So, understanding the business purpose. The good news is there's no right or wrong answers here. And I'm going to give. So I want you to huddle. Maybe you might need a. These are like 2 tables stuck together, aren't they? Do they come apart slightly? Maybe. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be we'll just get intimate. So I would say try to huddle around, grab a group, because what I want you to do is in just a short sentence or two, try to come up with a business purpose for this silly game. And somebody can use this table. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's more. I think in this box there's more. Thank you, Alexi. Yeah. It's like Christmas. Do you have? Okay, you have. And if you want paper, you can use this to write your. You can. This is group participation time.
Business purpose, you mean what profit will have the business?
Yeah, or what the system is supposed to do. Kind of like why are we building this? So you can make it up. Why are we building this system? What's the purpose? And it could be just for this stupid class, but no. It could be you try to think of, why would we want to?
In the video games, so my first thought is to get profit, to get more, to attract more.
Yeah, that's not uncommon. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have something to write on?
Yes.
Now you do. Do you have a pen or?
He has it, so you can do it.
Oh, well you can move up if you want. There's like a whole table up there too. You guys have something to write on? Boy, it's crowded.
Should we think about it as a project to make some money? Because I think
Yeah, you can. Yeah, your choice. Wow. Thank you. Coming through. Free table. Anybody need a pen? Anybody need a pen? Lots of people. You guys good? Okay. It's not English. Sto. Could be whatever you want. Neither am I, but that's okay.
What we're doing exactly. I know we are now
Think about what purpose might this system provide? The game of life. We're going to build, the customer has asked us to build a game of life simulation. So we have to invent. You can be the customer. That's the beauty. Yeah, maybe what the purpose might be for, why are we building this? What's it for? Yeah, kind of like, maybe for exploring or for some reason that you can invent and make up. It won't be wrong. Yeah, yeah, because
Do we have any initial rules or something like that?
there's only business rules once we start coding it. But for hey, why are we here? Well, I think we want to build a app for, and you get to make it up. Can't be wrong. Good progress. What, do you get paid by the hour? No. No, why are we building an application for the just invent an idea for, our customer has come and asked. Now you get to be the customer, so to speak, but you come and asked our team to build this app for the game of life because you want to. Right, yeah, you want to X. You want to make money. You want to simulate something. You want to learn. I don't know. There's no wrong answer. But think about this in things that you really do in your work. Oh, yeah. Why are we building this? I don't know. Why don't you know? Nobody told us. Why not? Just do the features, but why? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, good idea.
It's not possible. We cannot more than this. So I miss the introduction of this exercise. I came late
Oh,
to it.
so with behavior driven, well, this is part of my sort of the arc of developing a product is customer comes with an idea. We want to try to understand why, what's the purpose. So it's just a little exercise to, we're making this up because we don't have a customer, so we can be the customer. So it's just we want to build this app for learning, so it's really just to help the team, help people understand. This is an important first step. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people just start with features. But like, wait, why are we here? So it's really just to illustrate. Okay. Pencils down. Good enough. Is this thing on? Yeah. All right. So I don't want to inflict too much pain on everyone by doing this sort of an exercise. But this is literally the first step of building a product is why. What's the reason? Sometimes it's like to make money, but usually people don't part with their money unless you provide value. So it's really digging behind that. Admittedly, it might be a little challenging with this because we don't actually have a customer. You get to play the customer, but the idea is how many people work on a product team right now? So how many people understand in the product that you're building what its purpose is? Okay, good, right? Yeah. I mean, it's a really important step because I won't do the next thing which says tell me what your value means, but it's really critical for everyone to understand why are we here? Why are we building this? I mean everyone. And when you do it, you have to repeat it over and over and over and over. You just keep reminding each other, why are we here? A lot of times I would find a one that just came to mind. I'm just going to say it, and then I'll tell you what it was. Lean, mean, question and answering machine. That was a mantra that I developed for an insurance application system that the joke was everything's a question, including the very first question. And it was like a dynamic form that would unfold based on your answers. But the point is, understanding the business purpose, kind of getting a sense that everyone can talk about the same thing is really important. So, who wants to reveal their brilliance or lack thereof? Because there is no wrong answer, but there could be funny answers. So anyone who wants to go first, you can either read it out or write it down or...
It's a serious game, but zombie game, to educate people and to explore self-replication and its dependencies on its initial phase, using like example on BDD trainings.
Ah, right. Very practical. Yeah. So it's kind of an educational way to explore some algorithms. That's cool. Maybe I should. And you had another word for like the the cellular. What you had some word for the type of self-replication. Okay. Anyone else?
It was also balance game, and since dead cells are surrounded by three cells and then they came back to life, it's also a zombie game.
Ha.
So a zombie, but a serious game which educate people on value of balanced ecosystem.
Okay, I'll add serious. Because, yeah, it's serious. Yeah. Well, all the ones I met. Yeah.
So it means the customer is the government, yeah?
There you go. Bloodsuckers. Yeah. And they don't die, they just get bigger. Sadly. Who's next?
Okay, I'll go. He says it could simulate traffic.
Oh, simulate traffic. Interesting.
Could a little bit change the rules, and maybe we could
Every third car dies.
Every third car dies. That's a good one.
just let's redefine the definition of okay, or it could as well simulate maybe how some bad disease is spreading into
Oh, how disease replicates. Yeah, right. That's another kind of algorithm with different rules.
pharmaceuticals where you actually simulate testing after they do enough tests, like I don't know what is exactly enough, 100 or thousands of trials, then it's good to do computer simulation because it costs too much
Right.
after a certain
Yeah. So
tests in chemical pharmaceutical projects.
so more.
Actually, the same thing we are saying all the time, just three different
Sorry, I'm going to put less dollars because that's the best symbol that I know how to write. More effective and less dollar testing, so to speak.
I was not thinking we find a cure or something, but
Well, yeah. Who else? Yes.
So the purpose we see is this could be a model of information dissemination throughout any organization. Like it starts from somewhere and it just spreads.
Organization dynamics almost. That's actually interesting. To think of it as how knowledge spreads. Yeah. Sometimes poorly. Yeah. But knowledge is really key to what we do for a living. I don't know if you know that. I'm also, okay, I'm a process nut, I'm a value nut, and I am a, yeah, that too, yeah. Documentation nut. I'm probably the biggest committer in wikis and I'm working on a team. But I document especially the things that are not so easy to tell from looking at the code, but rather a lot of times things you don't do and things, anyway, and that's for spreading knowledge. That's for helping share. The thing that I hate the most is hate's a strong word. I don't hate anything. The thing that I don't like is if it took you a real long time to find a solution to a problem, like something that took, yes, it was a nightmare, some crazy bug or this or that, and you figured it out after days. And if you didn't document it, I'm going to be pissed, especially if it happens again. And then someone else goes through day after, I'm like, but that's knowledge sharing. Anyway, that's a good one. Who else? Yes.
So it can be an app for fun and for education to train your logic and creativity. So it can be an app for a competition between customers in creating the most interesting model, the most beautiful model according to the rules of the KERN, right?
I could almost write.
Main purpose is fun and education and
So an app for designing creative models and exploring them. Okay. Ooh. That's a fascinating. I never thought of that. But a lot of times we go the other direction. We don't like the complexity, so we think that we can just turn it into the complicated. Why, surely we could estimate everything. Yeah, right. Like, so we delude ourselves, or it's an illusion that we can get absolute numbers for things. And one of my superpowers is maintaining the complexity and being uncomfortable with unknowing, like not knowing something. And there's a lot of power in that. Usually that's where creativity and innovation can happen. But yet, so many times, everyone is forcing us to write it all down, to decompose it, to make this giant backlog, to turn it into just complicated, and surely we can know it, and then we throw away the complexity. So it's interesting that you're pointing out something kind of fascinating here, that, yeah, these simple 4 rules actually turns into fairly complex pretty quickly. It's a funny little thing to do. When you actually try to write code for this, it's pretty humorous. Anybody else? Oh. Explore market rules. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. What else? Okay. I'm not even paying attention to the time. Normally I set timers for this, but that's normally. So we started at what, 12:15? Okay. So this is a process that when you apply it to some, let's say, I don't want to say this is not a real problem, but when you apply it to a problem with maybe customers in the room, this is a technique you can use. It might seem odd at times to break into small groups, but the idea is that you bring the information back together from small groups, and then you can actually take the best of everything and then go forward to the next. So I'm not going to do that here for purposes of simplicity. But the next thing that we'll do is called story mapping. Does anybody do story mapping at their world? For feature-driven development, the way that we used to run is very, very similar to this. Just we didn't write a big book about story mapping. But the idea is think from the user's perspective, typically with the user in the room. What are we going to do to achieve some task, let's say? So this might be, we've talked about it's a simulation. There's a sense of it's an app, right? So what you need to do here is consider what user journey. Someone installs the app. like if you think ahead of time, what's it going to be? What are they going to do with it? So you can have some sense of user journeys which look a little bit like this. This was for, now this might not make any sense here, but in the United States we have a whole lot of fun every year with selecting our insurance for healthcare. And we have plan A, plan B, plans, different companies, different plans, and literally this was for a company that does benefits and healthcare, and this really was a story map for them. Now good news, most Americans are users because we all do this. We don't just get healthcare. We get to choose it. But the idea is, all right, well, this was picking a specific feature, let's say, called I would like to be able to compare plans. So imagine plans have a lot of properties that are the same. It'd be like comparing different investments. Investments have different properties. So, sorry I don't have an example for the game of life. That's what you're going to do. But a story map looks like, well, I might log in, I might view all of the plans, maybe I select some to compare, and then I compare them, and then I pick one. It's the point behind the story map is what's the basic set of steps. Like in the story mapping book, they talk about, well, what did you do this morning? Well, I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I da-da-da, well, okay, that's a goofy thing to do. But with our app, with the Game of Life app, what would the user journey be to start using it? So what I'm gonna ask you to do is just think about, before we get into this, this will come next, but think about other direction. What feature might you want to express? So this is where you can use these things if anybody needs, because you usually, like, I can show you this for real on real projects, and it literally, well, I did it the other way because I had a piece of paper like this, so there's not a lot of length this way, so I did it 90-degree rotated, but it really is, what are the basic steps that a user of your app, whether it's for simulating markets or simulating zombie game, just pick a feature that you want to express. What is the user journey? And then each step of the way, write it down here. Because these then turn into, we will then BDD, which might be in the afternoon, given our time. So does everyone have things like this or need any? So in the remaining time, which is like 15 minutes, see if you can come up with a feature that you want to express the steps. And it can be anything you want. So you get to decide. Anybody need more? You want any, or are you just going to write them down in bullets?
I think we're good.
Okay. You guys have? Okay. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. Do you want some notes to write stuff down on, or? You want any? You can just write bullets down? All right. You're good?
We're gonna write it. Then we need.
Yeah.
No, you can make up your own, what you think this app needs to do. Make up your own journey. No. Oh, you mean there over there? Oh, it can be what you thought of, or it can be one of those. Yeah. It's a free country. We can. Good.
How many shapes you can use, how many cells you can use, some input data so the algorithm. Yeah, yeah. Give it some context. What data does it use to produce different shapes? Yeah, conditions could be another input.
Excuse me. Nice.
If it's just a part of this onboarding or manual, it's a different. If we choose these, let's say these are epic levels, and these are green, like more story or feature, detail feature.
I think that maybe onboarding because the first one is examples,
Yeah, examples, instructions.
details, stories inside.
You can write that one logic on the green one. You just unstuck it. It doesn't have to be stuck. Then you have.
How's it going? Ready to ship? No. How you doing?
We wrote some steps, but generally I had a problem because I was non-stop thinking when you say features, in features as an addition to the program, so something that we can add instead of the existing features, and that's what it helped me out go back on the right track.
Yeah, it's sort of trying to express a user journey to achieve something.
Just a bit different, how to say, the words led me to some other stuff. But
Okay, good. How you doing? Did you do it out there where it's cooler? Oh. Hello. Did you just join? Did you just come? Or
yeah, just arrived like
okay.
now observing.
We're gonna do it again after lunch, same room. So you can join again, yeah. Okay. So we have about 5 minutes until lunch. Far be it for me to keep people between them and lunch. So if I could have your attention, please. All right. So I see a lot of really good stuff. Not that you have to come back, but there's a part 2 after lunch. And you can leave your stuff here. And if you want, you could sit at a table that looks better than yours. People won't remember. You're not on my team. Yeah. Because this is a competition for drinks. And I put up something for a real, this was a project called Advanced Batch Configure. The software that we had was for selling pumps, expensive pumps. Like sometimes the quotes would be hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So this isn't the little pump you go buy for your house. These are huge pumps, engineered to order, very complicated, engineered to order. Pumps that would run your water facilities in your city, that kind of thing, crazy stuff. And the company wanted the ability to, when they had quotes with, let's say, 20 or 30 or 50 line items in the quote, pumps, sometimes they would have requests by the let's say it was the municipality for the water. They would have, now we need to change all the material from something to stainless to something else. So sometimes they would have new requirements that would come in for the vendors to re-quote. And instead of trying to go in and change each, 30 quotes, to go in and change the shaft material, the pump impeller material, right? They said, can you make a system that allows us to select all of the quotes, the individual line items, and make a batch change. And so this literally, after doing some work that with the actual pump manufacturer, it really was something. Now, this is backwards to the way you're doing it, like I said, just because it was on a poster like this, and the length was better this way than that way. But that was, those are the user journey to be able to do advanced batch configure was select the items in the quote that you want to change, select the category, the impeller, the shaft, whatever. Actually, even non-destructive testing was a category. Specify the change you want based on what's available. Apply the changes and see which were rejected, which were accepted. Review the results, and then you're good to go. And I saw a lot of you actually have this kind of a sense of, well, I can select, again, it's 90 degrees, but a lot of you have, I call them variations on a theme. Well, there's different ways to select items. Give me the simplest one first. Give me some fancy ones later. And maybe later never comes. So this was a way to come up with releases, to get to what's the simplest thing that they have to at least be able to do this for this user journey to. So that's one of the values about the story mapping, is you get to think about it cheaply. Right? This doesn't cost a lot of money. We actually built this, and I forget, we might not have even done this full release 2. And I know we never did any of the release 3. And that's as much as I did on it, right? Writing down something simple. We'll get to it later. You can always do it later. But anyway, that was a real world example, and it actually was a kick-ass product too. But it started like that. It started from doing what we're doing, and meetings with basically they had vendors all around the world. Like Sulzer had teams all around the world, so they had different kinds of interests about. They even fought amongst themselves about what the features were. But it started with the system purpose, the business purpose, talking to the customers, getting a sense of what their reality was. And we designed a system and built a story map like this. So this is real. I use it all the time. It's not some fake thing to learn. But anyway, lunchtime. See however many of you want to come back for the sauna. It's a free sauna. Thank you very much. Good job.